Welcome back. Now that you get the basics of phrasing, let's get you some more options by playing around with 7-note scales and some styling options. When people say the minor scale, they usually mean Aeolian. The Aeolian shape looks a lot like the pentatonic minor with a few extra notes. Those added notes give Aeolian its sad sound. In the next session, play some of the new notes added on by the Aeolian shape and listen to how they change the mood. Each scale has a different shape, and even more importantly, a different sound. As you play around in session mode, listen to the different moods each scale sets and look for patterns in the scale shapes. When people say major scale, they usually mean Ionian. The Ionian shape looks a lot like the pentatonic major, but its extra notes give it that happy, sappy, sometimes sentimental sound. The terms major and minor get thrown around a lot. If you want to get technical, major and minor are qualities that apply to a bunch of scales, but most people just use them when they mean Ionian and Aeolian. Double stops are 2-note chords that are great for comping or building intensity in a solo. The scale notes in session mode make it easy to see potential double stops. Just hold down any 2 notes in the scale, and you've got a double stop. In the next session, try grabbing some double stops from the scale shapes on the fretboard. To learn more about double stops, check out the lesson on double stops. Music needs pauses and space to be interesting and dynamic. In the next session, try controlling the band's intensity to create a wide space. Sometimes the best thing to play is nothing at all. When music lacks dynamics and space, it becomes part of the background. Sometimes you'll want that kind of music. Other times you won't. Think about controlling dynamics as a tool for sculpting the listener's focus. During a session, your band will move through lots of section changes. Section changes are easy to notice. They always follow a long drum fill and sound noticeably different from the section before. Building the band's intensity to meet a section change is a cool, attention-grabbing phrasing trick. In the next session, listen for the section changes and try building up the band's intensity in time to meet the new section. Section changes are chances to take the band in a new direction. Think about taking advantage of these opportunities, whether it's something simple like changing the intensity or sliding way up the neck to play a screaming solo. The complexity level of your band increases the chance that they will contribute their own ideas to the session. As you play with more complex bands, expect band members to change the tempo, scale, or even the root. Don't worry, your scale notes will change with the band, so you'll always know how to keep up. In the next session, see if you can keep up with the changes the band throws at you. As the complexities ramp up, the changes the band throw at you will come faster and faster. The best way to get your footing in a new complexity is to turn down the tempo until you get the hang of it. You can use each instrument and setting in session mode to help you create bands with a specific feeling. Now that you're familiar with session mode, go ahead and create and save a new band. Be sure to experiment with volume, pan, and room sound. Bands that sound more cluttered or busy can sound much more organized and clean after some simple mixing. Take some time to explore session mode. Try playing with some more complex bands and make some of your own. Welcome back. Let's take some new scales and mix them with more complex bands. Dorian is shaped like the pentatonic minor, just with a few extra notes. It shows up a lot in funk and jazz. It's a little brighter sounding than other minor scales. Phrygian also looks a lot like the pentatonic minor. The added scale notes in Phrygian give it that dark kind of evil sound that metalheads love. It's always dramatic when someone slides all the way up the neck to play a screaming solo on the higher frets. There's a cool trick that can get you there sooner than you might think. Every scale shape has an exact copy of itself 12 frets higher on the neck. That position is an octave higher. An easy way to jump 12 frets quickly is to pretend that the first dot after the double dots is actually 3, the second is a 5, and so on. In the next session, try sliding up 12 frets to that higher octave. Hitting an octave jump is a good way to bring lots of contrast into a session. Music is all about contrast, consonant versus dissonant, in time versus out of time, loud versus soft. Without the other half of their pair, none of these things mean anything. It's the contrast between the two that creates the impact.